Welcome to Stories by Rushik podcast.
I am so excited for this one today.
Same here. So I want you to imagine the person you love, like seeing you at your absolute worst.
Oh, wow. That is a terrifying thought for most of us.
Right. And I am not talking about morning breath or a bad hair day.
Yeah, that's the easy stuff.
Exactly. I am talking about a full, unglamorous emotional spiral on a random Tuesday night.
Where your anxiety is just incredibly loud.
Yes, and you are being entirely unreasonable.
We have all been there.
We really have.
Right.
But modern dating culture essentially tells us that this is the moment you get left on red.
Oh, totally.
Oh, yeah.
You're supposed to just pack that messy version of yourself away.
Because love is, it's supposed to be this curated calendar of scenic brunches and perfectly timed getaways.
Right. A very neat, clean aesthetic.
Exactly. But the source material we are exploring today argues something completely counterintuitive to all of that.
It really does. It flips the script entirely.
Our mission today is to completely break down this idea that true connection only begins the exact second you drop the act.
The exact second you show the mess. It completely redefines what intimacy actually is.
And we are looking at a brilliant piece by the writer Rushik today.
His perspective on this is just phenomenal.
It is. His thought leadership really forces us to look past all the noise, the filters, and those endless talking phases.
We are so conditioned to look for a partner who looks good on paper.
Oh, absolutely.
It is almost like we are hiring an applicant for a successful life.
Yeah.
Rather than finding a partner.
Yes. It feels like you are presenting a polished LinkedIn profile to someone.
That is such a good way to describe it.
You highlight your achievements, you dress well, and you actively gloss over the gap years in your emotional history.
You only show the victorious version of yourself.
Right. But, let me push back on this idea for a second.
Sure, go for it.
Isn't hiding that mess just basic human nature?
Well, yeah, for self-preservation.
Exactly. If you start a first date by emptying out all your deepest insecurities, you're going to absolutely terrify the other person.
Oh, you would totally send them running.
So why is his writing so adamant that real love only starts after the charming parts leave the room?
Because the charming parts are really just the lobby of the building.
The lobby, wow, yeah.
And you cannot live your entire life in the lobby. You just can't.
It gets exhausting.
It does. The author uses this incredibly vivid metaphor of a cluttered attic.
Let's break down the psychology of that, because that metaphor is so powerful.
So, when you are operating in your polished LinkedIn mode, your nervous system is constantly on high alert.
Because you're constantly managing an image.
Exactly. The strange clarity he describes arrives when someone finally witnesses your rawest hour.
The version of you that wakes up with a sinking chest.
Yeah, the version spiraling into old fears.
But when you hand someone the keys to that cluttered attic of your mind, you are bracing for rejection.
Oh, your brain fully expects them to see the mess, turn around, and run.
You are just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Because you are showing them the ugly boxes of emotional baggage you haven't unpacked yet.
And you fully expect them to say, wow, this is way above my pay grade.
But the profound shift happens when they walk into that attic. And instead of bringing judgment...
Or, a broom to frantically try and clean you up.
Exactly. Instead of that, they just bring a lamp.
They bring a lamp. That imagery is just so striking to me.
Because it is not about fixing the person at all.
Right. You are sitting there in the dark with your unresolved baggage, and they quietly illuminate the room.
So you can both just see what is actually there. It is the ultimate form of observational acceptance.
They do not flinch.
They don't. And if you think about why relationships fail, it is often because one person tries to fix the other's panic.
Which ironically only makes the panic person feel like they are a problem to be solved.
Exactly. Bringing a lamp means saying, I see the mess and I am not leaving.
That signals pure safety to the amygdala, doesn't it?
It does. It tells your brain that you do not have to perform to be worthy of staying.
Which naturally leads to how this kind of connection behaves once it is actually inside that attic.
It doesn't just stand around making empty observations.
Right. It takes quiet action. And I want to contrast this with our current era of communication for a second.
Oh, please do.
It is easier than ever to flood someone's phone with chatter, emojis, memes, just a barrage of text messages.
It gives this massive illusion of presence.
But anyone can talk. The Magin pointed out here is hearing without words.
The imagery he uses for this action is stunning.
The kite metaphor.
Yes. He describes sitting beside someone who has a storm brewing inside them.
Yeah.
And catching that storm the way the sky catches a kite that has lost control.
Let's unpack the mechanics of that kite metaphor, because a kite, losing control, is frantic,
It is incredibly erratic.
whipping around in the wind, entirely at the mercy of the
It
elements,
feels exactly like a panic attack.
or just an overwhelming wave of grief.
And what does the sky do in that situation?
The sky does not yell at the kite to calm down.
Exactly. The sky doesn't panic either. It simply holds the space.
Psychologically, this is known as co-regulation, right?
It is. When one person's nervous system is in fight or flight mode, acting like that frantic kite, the absolute worst thing you can do is match their frantic energy.
But if you can remain grounded,
If you can be the vast, calm sky, your calm nervous system literally signals to their frantic nervous system that the environment is safe.
true love doesn't announce its care with a bullhorn.
No, it shows up with a steady presence. It acts like a patch on a worn-out sail.
It is the home-cooked meal when you have zero strength left to even decide what to eat.
It is a calm sentence that rearranges your scrambled thoughts.
I really appreciate how this writing elevates small, almost invisible gestures over grand cinematic announcements.
Because those small gestures are the only things that actually keep the boat afloat when the water gets choppy.
And this ties directly into the concept of refusing to abandon someone.
Yes, the idea that love collects your chaos without mocking it.
That specific phrase, without mocking it, is a massive psychological hurdle for most people.
It really is. How often do we minimize someone's pain just because it makes us uncomfortable?
We do it constantly. We say things like, you are overreacting, or let's just look on the bright side.
Even when we mean well, toxic positivity is really just a polite way of mocking someone's chaos.
Wow, yes, it is a way of saying, your pain is inconvenient for me, so please wrap it up.
Precisely. To see someone curled up with tired courage and choose to just stay in the uncomfortable silence with them.
That requires a profoundly brave heart.
It is very easy to adore a person's victorious, sunny version.
But when the lights go out inside you, real love does not immediately try to fix everything.
Which is a trap a lot of us fall into.
It simply lights a match from its own pocket.
That refusal to abandon is what the author beautifully calls the closest thing to divinity we get in this lifetime.
That line literally gives me chills.
It's so powerful.
The closest thing to divinity. Because that refusal to abandon isn't just a dramatic response reserved for a major life crisis, is it?
Not at all.
We tend to think of loyalty as jumping in front of a moving train for someone.
Right, some grand, heroic act.
But this material argues that loyalty is actually a daily, mundane architecture.
Yes, the everyday stuff.
Let me put a question directly to you, the listener. Think about a time you felt deeply, truly loved.
This is a great exercise.
Was it when you received a massive, expensive gift? Or was it when someone simply remembered your highly specific, slightly annoying morning routine without you having to ask?
I guarantee you it is the latter.
Oh, 100%.
The massive gift triggers a quick spike of dopamine. It is an event.
But someone respecting your workspace,
Or knowing exactly how you take your coffee, that triggers oxytocin.
that builds a structure you can actually live inside.
It is the architecture of consistency.
I view modern romance sometimes like a house flip.
Oh, I like that analogy.
We are so obsessed with the paint job, the Instagram posts, the matching outfits, the expensive dinners.
But the writing here argues that love is the foundation.
Exactly. The paint job gets all the compliments, but when an earthquake hits, nobody cares about the paint.
They only care if the foundation holds.
And this completely reframes the concept of faithfulness, doesn't it?
It does. We are taught that faithfulness just means not cheating.
Right, just the bare minimum.
But the perspective here goes so much deeper into everyday psychology. Faithfulness is not a performance. It is quiet integrity.
Trust is never grown in luxury.
It is forged.
It is built in the mundane through tiny, everyday actions that stack up like bricks.
Until one day you look around and realize a shelter stands there.
But stacking bricks is tedious work. It is not glamorous.
It really isn't.
One of the everyday examples that struck me the most was the idea of someone guarding your name when you are not in the room.
That is the ultimate litmus test of character.
It really is. It is so easy to let a stray, passive-aggressive comment slide in a group setting when your partner isn't there.
Just to keep the peace.
Yeah. But to have someone aggressively guard your reputation,
To understand when your edges are worn out and you just need air.
and to let you be your unfinished self, it creates an unparalleled sense of psychological safety.
The author describes this feeling as leaning your back on a door that will not open for trouble.
Imagine the physical relief in your body when you do that.
Right. Leaning your entire body weight against a heavy oak door.
Knowing the lock is completely secure.
Knowing that whatever chaos is outside cannot get in.
That is what consistent, everyday loyalty feels like in your nervous system.
You finally stop bracing for impact.
So we have been talking a lot about heavy storms and solemn duty, but I want to shift gears for a minute.
Okay, let's do it.
Because love isn't just an emergency response unit. It is also about gently changing the everyday emotional weather.
That is such a crucial point.
I have to bring up Rushik's witty imagery here because it is brilliantly relatable.
I know exactly which part you're going to mention.
She talks about someone pulling a smile out of you when your mood has turned into a locked cupboard.
We all know that exact feeling.
The days where you just shut down entirely.
The doors are locked, the emotional blinds are drawn, and you are just stewing in your own head.
And what I love is that the person who loves you doesn't bring a battering ram to break the cupboard open.
They don't force you to talk about it if you aren't ready.
They create these tiny pockets of relief that feel like, as he puts it, warm sand under cold feet.
He captures the humor in human connection perfectly here.
Humor is so important.
It acts as an emotional circuit breaker.
Yes. When tension gets too high, mimicking a ridiculous expression you made or saying something totally absurd trips the wire.
They aren't telling you that your problems do not exist.
No, they are just pulling you out of a cognitive spiral to remind you that your temporary heaviness does not define your entire existence.
They shift your sky by just one shade.
Which is often all you need to start breathing again.
Exactly.
So we have the visible actions, the humor, the everyday bricks, the lamp in the attic.
The tangible things.
Right. But I want to talk about what might be the most countercultural part of this entire piece, the unseen threads.
Oh, this part is fascinating.
He talks about someone who silently prays for you or whispers your name into the unseen.
Which feels very out of place in our modern culture.
It does. Let me play devil's advocate here.
Bring it on.
We live in a culture that values overt communication, love languages, open dialogues, visibly proving your affection.
If you didn't post it, did it even happen? Right?
Exactly. If silent support is completely invisible and the other person never even knows you're doing it, how does that actually build trust?
Is it essentially useless?
Yeah, is it just for the person doing it?
That is a fascinating challenge, and it goes right to the heart of what altruism actually is.
Okay, unpack that.
A selfie or a grand public gesture requires an audience. It demands an immediate return on investment in the form of validation or gratitude.
You want the likes, you want the thank yous.
Exactly. But whispering someone's name into the unseen, wishing for their safety when they are miles away,
There is no audience for that.
that does something profound to the person doing the wishing. It removes ego from the equation of love.
Because there is no reward.
Exactly, zero reward, other than the well-being of the person you care about.
Wow.
And while the receiver might not hear those specific words, that baseline of pure egoless altruism bleeds into every other interaction you have with them.
It changes your whole posture toward them.
When you hold space for someone in the unseen, without trying to control their journey, it softens your approach to them in the physical world.
They may never hear the prayers, but they feel the safety net woven from those unseen threads.
You just inexplicably feel safer in that person's presence.
Which brings all these incredible concepts together to shatter the cinematic illusion of romance.
We really are fed this idea that love is a film.
We are all waiting for the perfect music cue, the picturesque kiss in the rain, the grand apology.
Meanwhile, real love rarely makes it onto a movie poster.
Never. Real love is showing up on a frustrating, incredibly mundane Monday morning.
It is folding your partner's blanket just because you noticed they forgot and were rushing out the door.
It is listening to them speak in complete circles because their anxiety is flaring up.
And patiently reminding them that they are more than the story their fears are narrating.
More than the story your fears narrate. That is the core of it.
Fear is the loudest storyteller in the human brain.
It really is. It tells you that you are inadequate, that you are too messy.
That you will inevitably be abandoned once people figure out who you really are.
True love acts as the relentless counter-narrative to that fear.
Which leads us to this central metaphor holding this entire piece together.
Love is not the noise.
It is the spine.
The spine holding everything together. Let's think about the anatomy of a spine for a second.
It is entirely structural.
It is completely hidden beneath the surface. You do not look at someone and compliment their spine.
But it is the singular thing that keeps you upright when the gravity of the world is trying to crush you.
It absorbs the shock.
It is the steady rhythm behind a scattered heartbeat.
It is that physical hand reaching out at 2 in the morning when your thoughts are running absolutely wild in the dark.
It is the soft reminder that the world has not given up on you yet.
When you lay it out like that, it exposes how fragile the 2 brunches and a getaway version of love actually is.
Oh, it is incredibly fragile.
If your relationship is just the aesthetic paint job, the very first major storm of life is going to stretch it right down to the wood.
But if it is the spine, it holds.
It flexes, it bends under pressure, but it holds.
And if you are lucky enough to have someone like that in your life, someone who acts as that spine, the underlying message is to hold them gently.
Because in a world obsessed with the shiny and the new, this kind of gritty, resilient connection is incredibly rare.
It certainly does not trend on social media.
No, it doesn't shout for attention.
It simply lives. And when it lives inside your days, it makes even the simplest, most mundane hour carry a sort of quiet weight.
It leaves you with this silent victory of knowing someone has seen all of your jagged edges.
Seeing you on your absolute messiest day.
And still actively chooses you.
That specific knowledge changes your brain's chemistry. It makes the entire world feel a little kinder.
It changes your baseline of happiness entirely.
It leaves you with an involuntary smile, just walking down the street knowing you have that locked door to lean against.
As we wrap up this discussion, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to really chew on as you go about your week.
This is the most important part.
This writing beautifully describes the immense relief of finding someone who brings a lamp to your cluttered attic.
We all desperately want that person.
We do, but I want you to flip the perspective for a second. Ask yourself, whose cluttered attic are you bringing a lamp to?
That is the ultimate challenge here. It is one thing to desire a safe harbor. It is another entirely to become one.
Are you being the spine for someone else?
Are you catching their frantic kite when it loses control?
Without mocking their chaos or telling them to just calm down.
It is incredibly easy to desire this deep, resilient love.
But it is a daily, intentional choice to actively forge it, brick by everyday brick, for someone else. Thank you for listening to Stories by Ruchik podcast. For more such podcasts, follow Stories by Ruchik on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Prime Music, and YouTube.